guys, Constance here. Hi, baby! Oh, before I do what I was going to do, I wanted to tell you about a little update about the boys. So when you have animals who are registered and all official and everything, they have their formal name that goes on paper, but then they often get personal names that you actually call them by. And when I brought these little boys home, Mr. Smith named this one right here. This is Van Goat, Vincent Van Goat. Yeah, and so I figured since Mr. Smith named this one Vincent Van Goat, this one had to have an artistic name as well. And so he's Michelangelo. Vincent Van Goat and Michelangelo. Vinny and Mikey. So that's their nicknames, I guess you could say. So I'm going out here, as I frequently do, to check my SD cards, but you can see I got some Hunter Orange on. It is hunting season, and while we own all of this and a lot of those woods, there's land on the other side that people hunt on sometimes, and want to make sure they don't mistake you for a deer. Check that out right there. That is an animal trail. Isn't that crazy? You can see where it goes all the way across the field. I think I need to move a camera and bring it right here and see what's doing this. And it's actually been quite some time since we've had any issues with those two-legged critters. And I think it's because we've got signage all over the place. Both the, text no trespassing signs, but we also have purple paint, which in many states holds the same legal weight as a physical sign. Means no trespassing. Alabama did pass that law here, along with many other states, and so we have that. We've also got barbed wire fencing to make it very clear that there's property lines that are being crossed and to stay back. That said, now these cameras, I don't always leave them in the same spot. I mean, I have a couple of them that we leave in the same spot, like by the mineral blocks, but we have others that are in different locations, and they get moved from time to time, so that if one of those two-legged critters happens to see them and think they can avoid them, they'll be taken by surprise because they won't know where they are. And also, little trick for using trail cameras for security purposes. Most trail cameras have a little red light on them that blinks when it's going off, when it's sensing and recording and photographing and all that. But that red light doesn't serve any purpose other than to let you know that it's working. So, if you want to use trail cameras to be a little more stealthy, you can take some black paint or some electrical tape and you can cover that little red light, because that little red light serves no other purpose. And then, if you have two-legged critters coming around in the dark, they're not going to be tipped off by a blinking red light. Now, we actually had kind of an exciting morning this morning. First of all, my neighbor, well, for those of you who are new here, out here in our woods, there's a creek, and it's a pretty significant creek, and it kind of connects us with other people. And if you follow this creek through the woods, the next property you come to is a lady that I know. Actually, her bull showed up on my property one night. I have a video about that. I'll link it down below or up in a card if you're watching on YouTube. And she shared this morning that she caught something shocking on her trail cameras. She just put some out to kind of watch her herd of cattle and checked them, and you guys, she saw a predator that it's been rumored they're around. There have been verified sightings, caught on camera, verified by Fish and Wildlife or whatever they are, and all that stuff. And she caught one on camera. Obviously very close to us because she's the next neighbor that you would come to if you follow the creek. Now, I am not somebody who is easily frightened. You know, it don't bother me none not here in the woods. Not one bit. And I know we have coyotes. Coyotes are afraid of people. They ain't gonna come around. Yes, I had an incident with them years ago, but that was a rare thing. For the most part, they avoid people. We have bobcats out here. They avoid people. The only thing that gives me pause, just enough to be a little cautious, is the wild hogs. Because, yes, while they tend to avoid people, if you come up on a sow with piglets, they can be very, very aggressive. Or a hog, you know, I mean, you don't want to mess with them. And so I'm mindful about that. But I will tell you, what she had on camera does give me a little bit of a pause. Not enough that it's going to keep me from coming out here in the woods. But enough that you can bet that I have Betsy with me. And now that I know that this is in the area, I will make sure I've always got Betsy with me when I'm coming out in the woods. So, if you're wondering what she caught on camera, is a mountain lion. A mountain lion. Yeah. So, we are definitely making sure all the animals are put up at night, making sure all of the electric fences are on, and all that good stuff. I mean, we have lost chickens and ducks and all that to predators like coyotes, bobcats, owls. But, safe to say a mountain lion is not something we expected that we would have to really think about. Now, a lot of times when I'm out working on my property, or even when I'm in the house, you'll often see me wearing earbuds. I love, love, love my Raycon earbuds. Amazing sound, noise canceling, and all that stuff. But if I'm outside working, I usually only have one earbud in because they noise cancel so much I can't hear if someone's coming up on me. And even with one earbud in, it does make it difficult to hear at times. So now that I know what we have out here potentially, you notice no earbuds in these ears. Yeah, I need to hear what's going on around me. But again, I'm not going to live my life in fear. I'm not going to stay out of the woods just because there's a new predator out here. Just have to be mindful. Just have to be aware. And be prepared. Well, I don't know if you can see that there, but we've got a tree down on our fence. Gonna have to come out here and do some fence repair. You know, isn't it quite the mystery how metal signs just seem to tear themselves off of trees now and again. You know, I mentioned earlier how I've got cameras all over the place, and we don't often have issues with two-legged predators, but sometimes we do. And a while back, I actually got one of them on camera ripping signs off of trees. So about once a year, I've got to come out here, do some maintenance, sign maintenance, fence maintenance. Whew. Fence maintenance is going to have to wait for another day. We got another tree down on top of the fence over here, and that's in the middle of a jungle. That'll be a fun one to fix. Alright, so went out there and hung up some new signs, repaired some of the ones that were damaged, and at some point in the near future we need to go and do some fence line repair. We've had some trees come down in the last year, as you saw, and they land on the fence and do damage, but you know, a simple barbed wire fence line is pretty easy to repair. And inexpensive to repair. That's why we use that to just kind of mark our boundaries. So, you know, it has been a little bit of a chaotic 24 hours. I mentioned earlier about how we have all of our cameras strategically placed all over our property, and for a number of reasons. Well, last night, now, first of all, we very rarely have issues with two-legged predators around here. When we first moved in here, we had some issues with some trespassers. Once we put up the barbed wire fence, that generally took care of that. We don't usually have issues. I mean, once in a blue moon, we'll have someone come snooping. And last night, Mr. Smith was outside, and he sometimes walks along the front fence line and just kind of enjoys the peace and quiet. And last night he was out there and he heard somebody walking, and they were walking right on the other side of our fence, real slow and real quiet. And he was a hunter. He had on blaze orange and he had a rifle and all of that. But when he saw Mr. Smith, he froze and he turned around real slow and he walked away real slow, like he was trying to not draw attention to himself. Well, when you act like that, that's the quickest way to draw attention to yourself. And so Mr. Smith came in, we got flashlights, and we just kind of inspected things around here to make sure nothing had been messed with, and everything was fine. And then this morning I went out here and I pulled all those SD cards like you saw, and that person wasn't just moseying around outside the fence out front. He was also moseying around right over here, which in order to get over there you have to pass a fence line, you have to pass multiple no trespassing signs, and if you are over in there, you know you are trespassing. So I went out and I got a couple more cameras, because while I got him from the back and I checked with my neighbor over there, it wasn't him, I didn't get another shot of him. So I went and got a few more cameras and put them in a few more strategic locations. And like I said, you know, these trail cameras have these little indicator lights to let you know that they're working, but if you cover them with some electrical tape, nobody knows they're there except you. So anyways, yes, and then so we had that happen last night. Then this morning my neighbor told me about her discovery on her trail camera, which is very near here. As I said, they are the next property along the creek line. So I learned about that this morning very early, before I even went out to go do chores. And I went out to feed Sophie and Amos, and I walk in there and usually they're both right there greeting me, and I'm like, where's Amos? Why isn't he coming out here? And I walk around the front of their shelter and he is laying on the ground with his eyes closed, and I'm calling him and he is not responding, and my heart just leapt, because I'm thinking, you know, I just learned that there's a mountain lion in the area, I'm coming around the corner, my mule is laying there motionless. Well, nothing got him exactly, but we did have a close call. So we have these feed bags that hold hay, and they're designed to keep piggy animals from gorging themselves and eating too quickly, which, if you know anything about donkeys and mules, they have a tendency to very easily overeat. And so using a hay bag, which slows down their feeding process, helps keep them from overeating. We have used one of those for some time. We have one for the baby goats. They are a very common method for feeding hay, as opposed to a hay rack, and because they kind of contain the hay and they have to pull out a little bit at a time, it also reduces the waste because they're not pulling it out all over the ground. Somehow he got his foot through the net and was tangled in it and was laying there on the ground, because I guess he had given up trying to get loose and just laid down and went to sleep. And so I immediately started yelling for Mr. Smith to get a knife or scissors or something to cut this. And I rushed over there to him. I put my knee on there to kind of like keep him still, because at this point he had opened his eyes and he looked at me and kind of lifted his head up. And so I checked. Now he had just gotten his hoof through the netting, but my concern was that it had twisted and like cut off the circulation. But thankfully, he just put his foot through it and just got it caught. And so I was able to easily slide it off of his foot. And then I checked him over real good. I rubbed down his leg. I made sure there was no swelling, no injury or anything like that. I'm thinking he must have wore himself out trying to get it off and just laid there and just had given up, I guess. And so when I got it off of him, right about that moment, Mr. Smith came up and we got him up off the ground and checked him over again, and there was nothing wrong with his ankle or anything like that. There was no swelling, he wasn't limping. We've checked on him many times today, no issues, but man, that could have been really bad. That could have been really, really bad. So I am thankful for a good outcome for little Mr. Amos there. Needless to say, I immediately got rid of the hay bag. I will look for another hay rack. Unfortunately, things are things are a little hard to come by right about now. You know, there's a lot of shortages on things. So I went and grabbed the extra hay rack out of the goat area, brought it back in there. We used to use it for them until I had started using that hay bag. And so I just brought it back in there. I'm like, you know, a little bit of waste right now is probably okay until we can get a different device to hold the hay that will not be risky like that. So, in any case, yeah, it's been a busy day. I got a little bit of my work done that I needed to, my writing and stuff for my deadline that is coming up, but I've still got some more work to do tomorrow. And in just a second here, I'm going to run in there and finish up dinner, which will be another video coming up this week. And speaking of videos, I'm trying to do 5 videos a week. I know I've had some requests for more videos. My regular schedule has always been Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And so I am trying to do more videos. I can't guarantee there will be 5 videos every week, but I will try to do my best. So we've got lots of cameras out there on the property, more cameras out on the property in some different locations, and so I don't know. Part of me hopes I get to see that big cat on a camera, but a big part of me doesn't. We got too many animals around here for me to worry about. So, yeah, I don't answer these kinds of calls. In any case, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up for today. Thanks for hanging out with me here again at the homestead. My name is Constance at A Good Life Farm, and I'll talk to y'all next time.